Hi, this is Happy Bird from Happy Bird's Glitter Nest.blogspot.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make a lovely and very inexpensive little gift to make for a little girl's room or even a big girl's room. And these turned out so pretty, and they're made with just simple jam and jelly jars and a little paint and some very inexpensive bling. And I'll show you exactly what you need to do this, so stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need is you're going to need a jam or a jelly jar, and I like collecting jars that are about the size of the palm of my hand or smaller. That's just a personal preference because I don't like working with the big clunky mason jars, the quart size ones. So just take off the label, of course, and you'll usually have a stripe of glue in the back that's hard to get off with hot water. And all I do is I take that Goo Gone that they sell at the Dollar Tree and also in other stores, and I just put a little bit on a paper towel and it comes right off. And of course afterwards I wash it with a grease cutting dishwashing detergent, because you don't want any type of oils or anything like that on this jar. That's for sure. Okay, so the first thing I did was I found a sheet of heart patterns online, and I found this at firstpalette.com, and I'll go ahead and put the link to firstpalette.com on my blog. Just click on the picture of this project and it will be there. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to rough cut a little heart out. These were called small hearts or small heart pattern on the website. Okay, I'm going to set that aside. Then I'm going to take a piece of this non-stick aluminum foil. Sorry about that. And I'm just going to take some painter's tape and just lay some of this painter's tape on the non-stick foil, just overlapping it like that. Okay, so now we have our painter's tape on our foil. So I'm going to take my little heart pattern, and I'm going to use some double-sided tape. Some double-sided tape, excuse me. I'm just going to take a little piece of that, put it on the back of the heart, just so it will stick on the tape while I'm cutting it out. So I'm going to take my detail scissors, just go on around slowly if you want to make this nice. Go all the way around. And all the way around, just like this. And there's no reason to rush. Okay. So now I'm going to take the pattern off, and then I'm going to peel the foil off the tape. Let me get that started here. There we go. I see a little break. It's difficult for me to see right now too because of fact that I need glasses, new ones. This prescription is just not cutting it anymore. Okay, there we go. There we go. Now I'm going to decide where I want to put it on the jar. So I want to put it about here. And I think I'm going to put it towards the bottom part because I want a little bit of room at the top here for a reason. So just make sure that this is on here nice and smooth. Make sure you get all the edges like this. Okay. Alright, so it looks just like that. Alright. So now we're going to paint the jar. Okay, so you're going to need a little sponge brush here. And you're also going to need some white multi-surface paint. It can be any brand. This is titanium white, and it's in the Folk Art brand. You can see it says multi-surface. And so I'm just going to place a little bit of this acrylic paint right here on my wax paper. I'm going to come in with this and just going to dab it like this, and then just kind of dab off any blobby parts like that on the wax paper. And I'm going to start by doing the top part first. Now you can start anywhere you want, but just for me, I like doing it at the top first, and maybe that's because I want to finish this part first because there's a lot of little nooks and crannies and stuff in there. And we'll give this jar 2 coats of this. It just really looks so much better with 2 coats. And I'm just dabbing it on like this, creating some texture doing it this way. See, I'm using the end of my brush to kind of go in there too. Get in there. And like I said, you know, if you miss a spot or two, don't worry about it. You'll cover it the second time around. Okay, I'm going to put some more paint here on my wax paper. I'm getting down to the bottom of this bottle. All right. Oops, got a little too blobby there. I'll just pick it up with my brush and even it out. There we go. Okay. So now the top part right here, I'm just going to go around and kind of create some even texture there. Okay, and the top part, we're not going to go on the inside, but we are going to tap around the very top like that. And I'm not worried if I don't get every little speck because, like I said, we're going around it a second time. Okay, so I'm just going to do this. Now be careful because sometimes the paint can gather at the very tip here and leave like blobby streaky lines, and you don't want that. So, and if that happens, just come in and tap it with your brush like this again. Or not your brush, but your sponge. Okay, and I'm going to have to hold it from the inside here, like that. Now when you're going around the heart, just do a little bit right here on the edge. Try not to overdo it and get too much paint on the edge, because when you go to take this off, you don't want a whole bunch of paint around there. Just, you know, do what you need to do and then paint the rest of the jar. Like that. Okay. Alright, I think I can use what I have left here for the last part of this jar. Make sure I have texture all the way around. Okay, so this looks pretty good. And I'm just going to allow this to dry. Now, this dries fairly fast, but don't be fooled thinking that it's completely cured on the jar, because just because it's dry to the touch doesn't mean it's cured. So I'm going to leave this in front of my tabletop fan, and I'll probably leave it on for at least half the day, and then I'll come back and give it a second coat. Okay, so we'll be back. Okay, so this feels really nice and dry. It's been sitting in front of my tabletop fan for about 6 hours, and I turned this jar off and on in front of the fan too. So now we're going to give this a second coat. So I'm going to place a little bit of the white paint right here. And I'm going to take my brush kind of dab it, and I'm going to start, of course, around here first. And then I'm going to just kind of dab around here. And in here. Okay, it's covering up a lot of the spaces that I missed the first time around. And this will make the jar really white too by giving it a second coat. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to go around the edges here. Okay. Alright, and then at the very top I'm going to dab some paint on, like that, second time around. So it looks pretty good. So I'm going to put a little more paint here on my wax paper. And wipe some of it off. And I think I'm just going to stick my hand in there like this for this part. That's when you really see the jar turning a nice bright white color when you give it that second coat. I'm going to set it down for a moment so I can turn it around. Get some more paint. Gonna kind of get around the edges there, around the heart. And do the top part. Okay, I think I can use the rest of this for the last part, which would be right here. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good, but I'm going to just check it once more. Make sure I got everything. Make sure there's no streaky lines or anything like that on the jar. So it looks like it has a lot of texture and it looks pretty good, about like this. Maybe a little bit in here. I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to stop there at this point, and I'm going to allow this to dry. There's two little dots there under the tabletop fan, and I'm just going to allow this to dry overnight, and we'll put on the glass-like coating, which will be the Mod Podge Super Gloss right here, and then I'll show you how we're going to make it really beautiful and sparkly. Okay, so we'll be back. Okay, so this jar has been drying overnight, and I can tell it is very solid, very well cured on this jar. So the next thing we're going to do is lift up the heart. Now I'm just taking a toothpick, and you can start anywhere. But you're going to want to lift up the corner like this. Now when you're taking off the heart, just be careful, just kind of lift it around the edge a little bit. Push it away. And the reason why I'm taking this off now, although we're going to add a gloss glaze on it, is because I don't want to put the gloss glaze on any part of this heart around here, because what it'll do is basically glue it to the jar. So I don't want to take the chance of that happening. So I'm just pushing this back a little at a time. Like that. Okay. Now I think I can, I'm pulling this downwards. I don't want to pull it in the opposite direction like that. So I'm pulling it okay. I'm pulling downwards as I'm taking this off. And just take your time with this part. There we go. And it turned out beautifully. There might be a little bit of the sticky underside from this tape, but you can just wipe it off with a soft cloth. Afterwards it should come right off. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we are going to paint this jar with Mod Podge Super Gloss, and you can use triple thick, that's fine, but I think that this would work just as well for this particular project. And it's the Mod Podge Super Gloss One Coat Gloss Finish. This is not the regular Mod Podge, this is a gloss finish. Okay, you can see there's a difference. This is not a white glue. Alright, and I'm stressing that fact because I always get questions whenever I use this if regular Mod Podge can be used. So before we do that, we're going to have to mix up some glitter, and so I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so I am using all ultra fine glitters for this outside, because I want to be able to put glitter that will really adhere to the jar without having to put a coat over it. Because if you put a coat of this over it, it will still have a shine and a sparkle, but I just think it looks so much prettier without this on directly on top. And that's just a personal preference. You might think differently, but I'm going to be using this iridescent ultrafine glitter by Recollections called Glitz, and I found this at Michael's. And I'm just going to start by pouring a small amount right here on the bottom, and then I bought this at Walmart, and this was under $3, and I think it was $2.87 or something like that. And this is called Caribbean. I thought it was a really pretty color. It's kind of a cross between an aqua and a mint. That's what I think it looks like anyway. So I'm just going to pour a little bit of this in there, and I'm going to do it a little at a time and mix it up. What I want is I want an iridescent look with just a hint of this color in it, and I think it'll look really nice and frosty. if I do it that way. Yeah, that's pretty. I like that right there, but I don't want to put too much. Maybe just a touch more. And if you put in a little more than you want, you can always add a little more of the white iridescent. Okay. Okay, yeah, that looks good right there, I think. I think that'll do. Yeah. Okay, I'll start with this. Alright, so I'm going to take a little bit of this Mod Podge. Set my jar here, my glitter here. Open it up. And I'm going to pour a little bit right here on my wax paper. Maybe about this much to start. I'll wipe off the edge here. My jar. Now this particular Mod Podge One Coat Gloss Finish, it dries like clear glass according to the back of the bottle. So I'm going to take my sponge brush and I'm going to do just like I did when I put the paint on. And when I come to this part, I'm just going to be kind of careful and go around it like this. And I don't have to, whoops, a little too much. I don't have to go right up to the edge because we're going to be doing something with this heart. So I'm just going to be careful. I come around this part. So if you leave a little bit of that edge without any glitter, that's fine. I mean around the heart. Because we're going to be doing something there anyway. I'm not going to worry about putting glitter here around this part. It's mainly just around the actual jar itself, right around this area. Okay, so I'm going to take this and put a little coating of this on. Actually, I think I'm going to pour a little bit in my hand and just sprinkle it. That way we'll have a little more even coverage. Just kind of do this. Because you want just the hint of that sparkle. Okay, don't worry about the way it looks now. And then dip my brush in some more of this Mod Podge, and you're going to put it right here on the base of the jar here, up to the top of the jar. A little more sprinkles, and anything that is landing on my wax paper, I can always sweep that up and reuse it. Okay. Just do a little at a time. Okay, then I'm going to need some more of the Mod Podge. Okay, a little bit at a time. Wipe this off the edge. There we go. lower little section here. You see little areas where there's quite a bit. You can just kind of touch it and move it around. So I'm going to look carefully at the jar and see if it needs any touch-ups here or there. Okay, look around here. I think it looks pretty good. Yeah, I think that looks good. Okay, so now, right around the ledge here, I'm going to add some glue. And I'm just going to dab it like this, real quick, all the way around. And then I'm just going to take my glitter and this is kind of a messy project, I know, but at the same time, you can do this during, any time of the year, during the summer, spring, fall, whatever, and then just have all this ready for Christmas. And just kind of pattern things down where there's a little more color in some places than others. Okay, so I'm liking the way this looks so far, and I'm going to allow this to dry for at least half the day, and then I'll come back in with a very soft brush and clean off the excess glitter, and then we'll go on to the next step. So with that said, I think that you'll be surprised at just how pretty this turns out. Okay, so we'll move on. Okay, so I let this dry for most of the day, and I just came in with a very soft brush and just brushed a lot of this glitter off that was excess. And I think it turned out really pretty. It has a nice bluish, greenish cast to the glitter in the jar. So I'm going to take some Dollar Tree stickers here, little Dollar Tree gems, and I want to put this around the heart. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place it here. Now I'll anchor this down with hot glue, but I just want to make sure that it's going to do what I want it to do. And by the way, I took a little eyeglass cleaner and sprayed a little on a soft cloth and just cleaned that right up in the middle, and it worked beautifully. Okay, so it looks like it works best when I stick half of it on the glass and the other half on the jar itself. And like I said, I'll anchor these. I'm going to hold this and peel that up, and then I'll do the other side. And here, I mean, this is easy to do. Okay, so now I'm going to take my mini detail glue gun and just tack this down just like that. I'll do that in a moment off camera because I don't want to waste your time doing it on camera. But this little Surebonder, it's nice. It's a mini detail hot glue gun if you haven't seen it before, and it's awesome because it puts out just tiny amounts of glue at a time. Now the next thing I have is this pretty lace, and I bought this from my favorite seller, and I will give you the link. I'll put it on my blog. Just click on the picture of this project, and he sells this for 99 cents a yard plus free shipping. Okay, so I got a couple of yards of this. He is located in China. I have ordered many times from him before. He takes anywhere from 3.5 to 6 weeks to before you get the merchandise, because of course it's coming from China. But I always receive it, and it's always well worth the wait. Now I don't know at Christmas time how long it'll take, but it's worth it. It's very, very pretty. And you can also find this by going on eBay yourself and typing in the words pearl lace trim in the eBay search box, and they should pop up on the first page. The seller's name, he goes by Zim 2014. So there's just a little info for you. So what I want to do is I want to glue this around like this. So I'm just going to get an idea of roughly where I need to cut, which is about here, I think. So I'm going to snip that off. And I think I'm going to anchor this right here. I'll start in the back, of course, for something like this. There we go. And then I will just go on around. I'm not going to do every one. I'm just going to put a little dot here and a little dot there, just to kind of anchor this as I go around. And I am using the Gorilla Glue, hot glue. And I'm just going to wrap this on around, and then right here, of course, I'll close it. Like that. So we have what looks like this. Now we have to put the little candle in, but before we do that, I'll tack this down here. Just I'll anchor it like here and there, every other one, and then I'll be back, okay? And we'll do the rest. I just wanted to show you, I decided to go ahead and show you on camera instead of off. I didn't do hot glue on every other one like I was going to. I just started by putting a little hot glue under the first rhinestone that I put on, and then under the last, and then for the next row under the first rhinestone. And now I just lifted this up because I'm going to put a little bit under there too, and that's all it needs. As long as those pieces are anchored, this will be absolutely fine. Okay, now I did find some pretty butterfly pretty butterfly lace with pearls on it, and I believe I bought this from the exact same seller, and it was also very inexpensive. And I cut one of the little butterflies off because I thought how pretty it would be just to have this kind of like here right in the corner. So I'm just going to put some hot glue here like that, and just have it just like that. I'm going to hold it for a second like that. So I think that is really lovely. Okay, so now we'll fill the jar, and, well, not to the top. I'll show you. Hold on. Okay, so I'm using a faux candle. So we're going to put some of these buffalo snowflakes in here, and they're iridescent. And this is just the snowflakes that you would buy when you're creating village scenes or something like that. So I'm at the tail end of it because I've had this for years. And so just going to pour just a little bit in just to kind of cover the bottom. And of course, if you're using real candles, don't use these. You can use some other alternative, like maybe some of those tiny white rocks they sell at the Dollar Tree, or something like that. Okay, make sure that it all goes to the bottom here. And see, you can see here the sparkly little snowflakes. So next thing I'm going to do is turn on the light, these little tea lights here. And I'm just going to set this down here like that. And I'm going to turn off the light. I don't know if you can see it, but I think this would make such a lovely little light for a girl's room. And this would make a nice little gift. So I really hope you give this a try. It wasn't difficult. I mean, basically, it was just that it needed time to dry in between. That was really the most difficult part. But the rest was not hard at all. And if you take your time with it, and you're not in a rush, and you're not trying to speed craft by making 25 of these because you have a craft show in 3 days, then yours will turn out beautiful too. And once again, I will put those links that I talked about on my blog, and just click on my blog. When you click on my blog, you'll see the picture here of this candle. Click on that, and all the links will be there for you. So with that said, I thank you so much for watching, and God bless each and every one of you. And if I haven't said it yet, Merry Christmas. So you take care, and God bless you. Bye-bye.